Yeah, so today we enter into a much deeper approach to the subject of the new group of world servers. And let me give you kind of an overview of the key themes we're going to focus on today. We're going to look at the subject of service and the new group of world servers from many angles. We're going to look at it from the point of view of how is service different as it pertains to the Aquarian age versus the receding Piscean age. We're going to look at the difference between the practical approach versus the mystical approach to service. We want to look at the requirements that the Tibetan has laid out in terms of what constitutes membership in the new group of world servers. There are certain psychological characteristics that he suggests need to be present to be really fully participating in that group, even though you may be unconscious of the fact that you're part of inner group. So we're going to look at that. We're going to also be looking at various techniques and methods to be more effective in our own service work, and hopefully you can walk away with some ideas in terms of what can I do to be a better servant on behalf of the greater life. And we'll also be looking at things like, what is the plan? I mean, we talk about the plan a lot, but what is it? What is it? And also, how does the plan look different as it evolves through different social systems? Whether it's, what is the nature of the plan as it pertains to the unfolding of, let's say, governmental systems? What is the plan as it unfolds through education, the sciences, the arts? And so we'll be looking at that. We'll be also looking at the fundamental principles that are said to be the guiding principles for the new group of world servers. And if history is any indication of the present, we'll probably go on an unexpected tangent or two. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, I want to start though by meditating. I'd like to start our morning that way. And just a very brief meditative alignment so that we ourselves become more receptive to our own inner promptings about service. Okay? So, all right, so let's prepare ourselves here by making sure we're seated comfortably. And we begin this meditation by just attending to the breath, the breathing process. And try to have your breathing become even so that the inhale and the exhale are of equal length. And notice how the inner life tends to quiet down through this evenness of breathing. And now shift your attention to your heart chakra. And as you focus on the heart, imagine that the quality of Christ-like love is beginning to well up within your heart. Allow yourself to yield to love and feel the warmth of Christ within the heart. And imagine that the love you feel from the heart is being projected outward into this room, connecting each of us in the field of unity and love. Heart to heart, Christ to Christ. And now move your attention to your throat chakra. And we know that this is the chakra where the soul's ideas find an anchor point for expression. Imagine that this chakra is becoming vivified, enlivened by your focus. And now lift your attention to the crown chakra, just above your head. Here is where the purpose of the soul and the purpose of the ashram make entrance into our lives. Imagine that you are becoming aligned with the soul's purpose and the soul's will through this chakra. And now move your attention to the ajna center, the point between the eyebrows. The meeting place of soul and personality. And from this point, begin to draw yourself inward. Feel yourself moving inward and upward, away from form, feel yourself moving to a place of deep expansion. A place where you feel boundless. A place where you feel inwardly at home. The place of your higher, wiser self, the soul itself. And when you find that place, silently chant the Om to affirm your position and alignment. And now from this point, from this soulful place deep within, imagine that a greater life is beyond your soul. It is the place of your ashramic responsibility and relationship. It is the place from which your soul has issued forth. Imagine that your soul is now becoming more aligned with that deep ashramic place. And that a rapport is being established between the ashram and your soul right now. And imagine that now the ashram is trying to intuitively plant a seed deep within your consciousness. A seed having to do with your service work in the world, your part to play in the ashram's plan. For a few moments remain very, very still and receptive, allowing this subtle seed to be planted. Be still. And now, holding this alignment, we feel a sense of certainty and faith that the seed is now there, and that in time it will germinate into a fully realized thought and understanding. Believe that. And in the spirit of service to the greater whole, let us close this meditation by softly chanting the Om 3 times together. Om. Okay. All right, everybody. So let's start getting into this material. Yesterday at the talk, I defined what the new group of world servers is. Let me redefine that and frame it for us again. And as I said, there's different definitions in the esoteric philosophy. Sometimes the Tibetan will actually talk about the new group of world servers, and he even includes the masters themselves. Sometimes it's much more narrowed to the human kingdom. But just think of the new group of world servers as being those people who have a conscious recognition of a higher part of themselves. There's some deeper impulse, a deeper call, a deeper sense of wisdom that they are aware of, and that there's a sense that that higher prompting, even though sometimes vague and nebulous, that higher prompting is actually the thing that they must strive to become. And so it's a recognition of something very, very eternal and sacred within oneself. And meditation helps us kind of touch that place. So there's this recognition that there's a higher part of ourselves, and there's also a recognition that that's the thing to strive to become. And of course, as we try to strive to become it, we realize that the lower self is not going to let that happen easily. The lower self is the force that has had the dominating control for a long time. Hundreds of lives, and it's not going to let go of the reins easily. And so the lower self has to be transformed and helped to recognize what its role is, and that is to be a servant on behalf of the greater part of us, to be a servant on behalf of the soul. So members of the new group of world servers have a recognition of that, a recognition of a higher aspect to themselves to strive to, a recognition of the resisting tendencies of the personality, and a commitment to do the hard work of transforming that personality so that it becomes a cooperative agent on behalf of the higher. And coupled with all of that is a growing sense of responsibility, a growing sense of responsibility to bring the best of you that you sense into outer expression as a function of service to something beyond oneself. And that's what this is all about, really. The new group of world servers are people committed to giving service to the outer world. And that service can take a variety of forms, which we will talk about today. But it's a commitment to make a contribution. You know, it's really interesting. In another section of this philosophy, there's the whole study of the 7 laws of the soul. The 7 laws of the soul. And the 3rd law is called the law of service. The law of service. Literally, it's a fundamental law inherent in the causal body, the vehicle of the soul, that it wants, it needs, it's propelled, its nature is to express itself through the personality It wants to do that with the personality as its outer vehicle and not its opposition, which is always where the challenge is. And it wants to make a contribution. This is not a choice that the soul is making. It's part of its nature. It's all that it really knows about its purpose is to express outward the best of it, the best of its wisdom that's acquired over thousands of lives, and that quality of Christ-like love which is inherent in the causal body itself. You may remember last night I was talking about the idea that the causal body is inherently Christ-like. The substance of the causal body is the Christ in you. And it's about bringing the Christ in you into more outer expression as a function of service. All of that together is what constitutes membership in the new group of world servers. And actually that's the broadest definition that I could use. That would be sort of like a minimum way of looking at it. In a minute I'm going to share with you some of the other things that the Tibetan says are required to really be part of it as he sees it. But I will say this, that at this point, is that the number of new group of world servers members is increasing. They're certainly in their millions now. The last many decades, more and more are coming into the ranks. And most are unconscious of the fact that they're part of an inner group. 99% of them probably are unconscious of an inner group, but that's not the point. What the point is, we can tell that they're part of it because of their nature, how they think, how they perceive, their relationship to the greater whole, and their sense of responsibility to attend to the welfare of something beyond their ego needs. Sometimes it's about attending to something out there that even has no karmic relationship with you, and yet you have some gifts that would make a difference out there. So one of the other factors of being a member of the new group of world servers is that it's not just that you're serving because you have a karmic requirement to serve because of past incarnational issues, but there are many times when your service is being delivered into an arena that actually you have no karmic issues around any longer or never did. It's about taking on planetary karma rather than just being preoccupied with your own karma. And that the further you go on the path, the more you're attending to planetary karma and the less preoccupied you are with your own personal karma. And by the time a person gets to the fourth initiation, it's all planetary karma and there is no personal karma to be dealt with at all. In a way, it could be said that the relationship between where one is on the path could be measured by the masters as the proportion of personal karma versus planetary karma that a person is inclined to attend to in the outer expression of life. And that proportion changes the further you go. So they're in their millions. It's the Tibetan calls them the builders of the new and dawning age. And by the way, this new and dawning age also has another name. It's called the age of restoration. The age of restoration. So we're in this age of restoration, or we're beginning it.